At Kyalami, an absolute perfect day for motor racing, a beautiful heartfelt afternoon. Big crowd here to watch the racing, and this is one of the races they've come to see. The Alfa Romeo Group 1 race, a full field there with a lot of scores to settle. This is the manufacturers' battle. It's like a world war going out on the roads of Kyalami this afternoon with the big Fords as you see them in the front there, on the first row of the grid. Just behind them, they've got the Alfa and BMW 745. So there it is. It's Damseaux who won it here last time at Kyalami and then went out of the race at Velcom when he had a coming together with Tony Viana in front of his home crowd. So they've got scores to settle here. Left-hand side of your picture is Serge Damseaux taking up the pole position. That's in the big V8 Ford Sierra. Alongside him, the former Rhodesian John Gibb in the Presto Parcels Ford. And there's Tony Viana nodding through there in the 745 BM. On the right-hand side, the blue car there, that's George Santana and the Autocoupe Alfa GTV that he's taken over from Nico Bianco. And you see that Viana is just positioning himself right to get away from the line very, very quickly. We've got Bianco in the field. He's leading the championship at the moment. He's there in another sponsored car. You can see the two Fords there. It's left is Damseaux from the Cape, the Western Province race and rally champion. He just won the Nissan Rally down the Cape 2 weeks ago. So he's really on a high. He's on top form there. He set up pole position and he means to pull it off. But there's the big competition just behind him as they go away. 10 laps, 40 kilometers to go. And it's foot flat as they go under the bridge and head down to Marlborough on the first tour. 40 kilometers to go. It's a full field of 30 cars as they go down there. It's Damseaux in the front and there's the BM closing its mirrors there on Gibb. Damseaux in the front there, and there you can see Santana sweeping across. Then it's Nico Bianco in the red one. Damseaux, the BM's gone into second. So Gibb's advantage he had in practice has gone. And that BM means business. And those Alphas mean business as well. They reckon that as the race gets on, those heavier cars, the tyres start to warm up. They get really hot. And this is when the handling of the Italian cars is going to tell. And they're going to come through here. That's Damseaux in the front. That's Viana going sideways through Yuxke. Then we've got Gibb, then we've got George Santana, then we've got Nico Bianco coming along there in the red Alfa and using all the road, as you see. Damseaux breaks hard for Ford corner. This is their day here at Kyalami. The BM still, it's a big car to throw around, and Viana and he's throwing it around. He really is throwing it. It's a big motor car, and Viana is one of the drivers that can drive a car like that. He can throw it around the tighter Kyalami circuit, around the fast Velcom sweeps, and he certainly gives always a great performance here at Kyalami. So that's the man in second position. It's new livery there. It's got new sponsor on the BMW Winfield as they come through West Bank. And Damseaux has really taken the lead there. He's got the edge on them all, but now has this BM got the straight line speed to hang on to that V8 5-litre Ford of Damseaux. As he comes through on lap one, it's Damseaux and it's Viana. And it's Tony, John Gibb, and then it is George Santana coming through in the Autocoupe Alfa in fourth position. A long way to go. With me here is Andrew Thompson, a former driver in a lot of racing here at Kyalami. Andrew, take it from there.
Thank you, Roger. Look at that. Tight stuff right from the start. The needle is on. I think, as you mentioned earlier, the winner today is going to be the man that resists temptation to get involved in a argy-bargy dice and to maintain his car to the end. Big problem being, of course, Roger, as you pointed out as well earlier, that the big cars heat their tyres up, which slows them down as the race progresses. Very hot afternoon too, with the track surface temperature being high, I would imagine. And that's when the Alfa, more nimble, lighter, can make its presence felt. Of course, the Alfa is a 3-litre engine as opposed to the 5-litre Fords and the 4.5-litre BMW. So that the position as we see it now is not unexpected. John Gibb, forceful driver, graduated from motorbikes through Formula Atlantic cars, now making a comeback after having got his business established. Not an easy customer to reckon with. He's got his way past Tony Viana from the Free State there, and certainly doing his job as number 2 in the team as he keeps Viana at bay while team leader Damseaux makes a break for the lead. George Santana not far behind, but these four at the front seem to be leaving the rest of the field. However, a long way to go yet. That's a shot down the straight as they go past the pits, and that glorious sound of the Ford V8 on full song Long time since we heard a Ford V8 in serious competition at Kyalami, and I love it. Viana trying the outside line. Very difficult cars to drive, these. Any saloon car is a compromise, of course. It's not designed to go circuit racing. Very, very far removed from a purpose-built single-seater, and a totally different driving technique required. They're spongy, they're big, they roll around a lot. The brakes tend to wear out if you cane them. The tires wear out. So it requires a lot of finesse and mechanical sympathy to do well in these cars.
The crowd love to see these big cars around here. It really makes motor racing here at Kyalami. Gibb now getting the hang of it. And Viana is really trying in that car. He really is. And a locked left front wheel there from John Gibb. As Andrew says, let them overdo it and their tyres are going to go off. They just start slipping and sliding all over the circuit as the race goes on. The order, as they are in the middle of lap 3 at the moment, is Damseaux in the front by 2.5 seconds. Then is John Gibb and Tony Viana in your picture now. Then we've got Nico Bianco in the Alfa. Normally in the works car he was a lot closer to the front runners. Then we've got the Dick Pickering Balalaika Alfa. Then we've got the first of the next class, that's Hannes Strobler in the Nissan Skyline with Charlie Brits in close attendance. So it's Hannes Strobler, the rallyist, a foremost rallyist in South Africa, doing well on the track out here. Then Charlie Brits in the Nissan Skyline, and then Paul Money in the 2.5 litre Alfa GTV. Right, here they are. It's still Gibb now. Has Viana got an answer for him as they go down under the bridge? They've done 3 laps. They've got 28 kilometres to go to settle the score. Damseaux they had a coming together, Serge Damseaux in the lead at the moment, and that car in your picture now at Velkom. Tony Viana limped out of that an accident to come home and get his points, but Damseaux now, really a forceful driver. He destroyed one of the cars up at Westbank in the first race of the year here, and he also had, as I say, that coming together down at Velkom. And it looks like the Fords are starting to take over now, the 2 V8s. That's a big handful. That big BMW must be one of the only 745s that race in the world, I would say, Andrew.
I think you're right. I haven't heard of one elsewhere. It's a unique marketing ploy by BMW South Africa, and of course their tobacco sponsors as well. Winfield looks very smart. Used to be in the orange of Gunston previously, that car. And at this stage of the series, Nico Bianco is the top man in the top class. There are concurrent leaders in 4 or 5 of the classes. That's Nico Bianco in your picture there, and he's pulling into the pits. So that's him. He's lost his lead in the championship immediately. Bad day for the Alphas today, with Santana missing as well. There's no smoke from the car. I haven't a clue what the problem could be. He's pointing to something as if to prepare his mechanics.
I think it's that left front tyre there, Andrew. He was like pointing over to the... It could be a puncture as he comes in. Is he going off the circuit altogether? Is he coming down the pits? No, he stopped at his pits. The Alfa mechanics are working on it. It's probably to change a wheel. The left front tyre at Kyalami really does take a hammering here, as all the weight going round the corners is taken out. Right, the 2 Fords are starting to establish themselves now. Tony Viana is really got a handful on his hands, and just watch him sideways through sunset. John Gibb, I should imagine, is starting to flat his tyres. You see him brake there for Clubhouse. He normally has smoke coming off. There's some more smoke from Gibb's front tyre, and that's not going to be good long term, I should imagine, Andrew, as the race gets. And that banging those back tyres of Tony Viana's is not going to help it. He uses a lot of concrete there too, and it's very rough on those slick tyres. And he did a pretty good slick there to handle these heavyweight cars. So that's Viana in 3rd position at the moment. He lies in the championship in 10th position, so he's got a long way to go if he wants to pull it off this year. The lead at the moment, they're oops, and it looks like the Sierra in the front is starting to slow fractionally. Gibb has closed on him. John Gibb is starting to close on him. He's just 2.5 seconds behind him, and here's some of the other classes. This is another great race going on. That's Peter Lance in the Opel GTE, and then we've got, looks like Jeff Mortimer there in the Volkswagen. That's the one normally being driven there by Sarah van der Merwe, presently at Monza, driving in the World Endurance Championship race with Pretoria Bricks George Fasci in Italy this afternoon, or tomorrow they're going to do. 74 is Peter Lance, and then at number 50 is a very, very well-known car. I think it's Jeff Mortimer at the controls of that, and then it looks like Alan Esterhazen, who's coming along in the Giulietta just behind him. So this is where Opel is now starting to take over in their cadets from the Golf GTIs. They've had some very good successes, with these cars, and here they are leading those very hot GTIs. That's the new shaped GTI Golf that's coming along. Mortimer, a very hard driver. Lance actually has been in Golfs before, and almost at that point you see them now. They had a coming together a few meetings ago, and Lance actually landed up head on into the wall. So him changing makes now, he wants to show what the Opel can do against that Volkswagen Golf GTI. And that's another rallyist at the controls. They're probably one of the most talented all-rounders in motor racing. He can prepare a car well, can Mortimer. He can drive them well, and he's very, very successful, a Springbok and a South African champion to boot. So that one's going to go right throughout the race, those two. They'll be watching each other very, very closely.
Interesting to note, Roger, that Alan Esterhazen in the Alfa Giulietta is not that far behind either. Good effort by Esterhazen. He's an instrument maker at the CSIR, obviously a precise technician, and he's got that Alfa going very well on a shoestring budget. He's not sponsored by a factory team, as are the two cars ahead of him in this dice. Peter Lance, don't know quite why he's driving the Opel today. He normally drives a Golf GTI, and he's taken over George Foucher's seat, who, as Roger told you, is driving with Sarel van der Merwe. So we've got two replacement drivers in these cars today, although both good showers in this class in their own right normally. Lance is an older man than George Foucher, and it shows in his style of driving. He's a lot smoother, a lot tidier, doesn't hammer the car quite as much, and getting the results as well. Slight gap there. I don't know to what extent slipstreaming counts in this type of racing. We'll see if Jeff Mortimer can close that gap down the long straight. Under the bridge, past the pits now. Esterhazen in the Alfa still in touch, falling back perhaps a little bit, but just past half distance in this race, and a lot can happen yet. 4 laps to go. That's about 16.5 kilometers. Long way to go. Something like 28 corners to brake for, change gears for, negotiate, and all the judgment and skill and practice that's gone into
smaller cars. They just say get out of the way. It's now up to over, and Gibb saying thank you very much as he passes Hafaji there, Abdul Hafaji. I think that's the first time a Alfa 33's been out racing as well. And also first here at Kyalami, we've got a BMW 323 being raced by Johan Alberts. So that's another new car. It's a big field here, and there is racing going on all the way around the circuit. Well, it's the final lap now with 3 kilometers to go. Serge Damseaux in the front. John Gibb is in second position in the V8 Sierras, and with Tony Viana in third, not really able to do much about those two Fords ahead of him.
Thank you, Roger. I think that you flattered John Gibb. I don't think he was saying thank you to that back marker. I think he was shaking his fist at him, but nevertheless...
Just being diplomatic.
Clear domination from the Ford team. Here they come out of Leerkop for the last time. Have to negotiate the kink and a couple of back markers, and they'll take the flag line astern. Team leader in front by 1.6 seconds from John Gibb. And what more could you ask for on Ford's day at Kyalami? With that, Roger?
Right, well, that's a power demonstration. Here come the others to the line there, these smaller Golfs as they come through. And that Opel Golf one is a little further down the field as they come there. Anyway, the order there, Serge Damseaux and John Gibb in the two V8 Ford Sierras. Then we've had in third position Tony Viana in the Winfield BMW dealer team car. And then we've got Dick Pickering coming through in the Alfa. Oops, and someone's in the fences there. Somebody's taking some of the fences, and it's on its wheels. And that's on Sunset by the look of it there. Somebody's put their car on the wheels. Pickering is fourth, as I say. Then Hannes Krobel in the Nissan Skyline. Paul Money was next in the Alfa, and Charlie Brits in another Nissan Skyline. Those are the first 6, but let's just see what we've got here. Here's a coming together. That's a Nissan Pulsar, 2 Pulsars, and there's a, looks like an Alfa in there, and they are really having a ding-dong, those two. One is trying to keep the other out. They must have had an almighty battle going on, and that's number 121 heading for the fences. Oh, that's going head-on into the Armco there. That's a real heavy one, that one. A very, very heavy one, that one. And I think that could be Abdul Jaffer too. I think it was 121. Could have been Abdul Jaffer. That was a very heavy one. He lost control with those 2 Nissan Pulsars not knowing which way to go. And it's on its wheels there. There it is. Right, so let me just quickly give you the results again. It was Serge Damseaux and John Gibb dominating those two Sierra V8s. Then it was Tony Viana in the Winfield BM. And then we had Dick Pickering in the Balalaika Alfa. Then Hannes Strobler in the Nissan Skyline, Paul Mooney in the Alfa, and Charlie